Hello and welcome to Coming Home with Mama T. I'm your host, Tiara, aka Mama T. And on this podcast, we explore the journey of creating the life of our desires through mastering manifestation, maintaining a positive mindset, and living luxuriously. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Amanda Smith joining us. Amanda is a former engineer on several NASA projects and programs turned medical intuitive. I love it. She works with female athletes with chronic health conditions that is taking her out of her sport. Along with the unpredictable pain, she's struggling with depression and not keeping an eye up or keeping up with day-to-day life. Amanda can scan her body to see what's wrong, clarify it for her, map the path forward, and land her back in her best condition, back in her happy life, back in the game. Ah, I love it. That is rock star energy. I'm here for it.
Heck yes.
Yeah, so go ahead. Tell us a little bit. How did you discover that you have this gift? One.
I've had it my whole life. I'm one of those types of people who has been super sensitive, had a ton of clairs show up when I was really, really young. And then I systematically turned them off as I was overwhelmed by them. Like, I think I was two the first time that I felt, or not felt, heard a voice. And it wasn't like someone else. It was just one of those moments where you're like, holy crap, what was that? And it felt like that God voice. And I was like, okay, we're going to turn that off now. And then seeing things, that one got turned off right away. So yeah, I had a bunch of those clairs, and the one that I left on was feeling. And that, you know, when it comes to those of us who are super, super sentient, super, super sensitive, we tended to have some craziness in our childhood. I was one of those people, and they produced my gifts. They helped amplify my gifts because of the chaos that I lived in.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I became the medical intuitive that I am now, and I throw air quotes around that because it's funny to say when you're like such a logically based person, but super science based as well. So I'm like, okay, I know I can throw science at this all day long, but at the same time, there's the unexplainable, right? I help people heal their bodies. Some of it's explainable, some of it's not. Some of it is, divine intervention and their willingness to want to go there. But that piece of the puzzle landed in my lap in 2017 when I had a coach reach out to me, and he showed up at a conference that I was at, and he was like, do you realize like you're feeling everybody else's pain as well as your own? And I was like, yes and no. Like, I was aware that I could feel other people's stuff, but I wasn't aware that I was feeling everybody's stuff all at the same time. I just thought, no, that's my body because I was an athlete, am an athlete, and I was just in pain. So he was like, let me show you. And he taught me how to, he called it shielding. And he taught me how to basically block everybody else's energy. And from there, I learned how to have a dashboard and how to work with people's energy specifically, turn it on and off, dial it up, dial it down. All of that's happened since 2017.
That is pure magic. I love it. And it resonates on so many levels because I have other people in my space that talk about, they actually use the word dashboard and they use the words shielding. And it's so interesting how we're all different and how we like receive information from the universe, from our like own world around us in the physical space. So can you talk a little bit about how you might receive this information?
Ooh, there's a couple layers. When you pay me, I do a 3-level comprehensive body scan. So we're looking at the body, and I am actually feeling what's going on in your body. You and I already talked before we started recording. You gave me permission, and thank you for that permission. I'm already starting to feel some of the stuff that you're going through show up in my body. So I can point to it and go, oh, are you feeling this? And then there's the auric level, or the energy around you. And that's more visual for me. It's not like I'm seeing auras or anything like that, but I'm picturing what each of those layers looks like around you, what shape it holds, whether it's got holes in it and you're letting weird energy in. But that's all of your energy centers around you, which science has proven that everybody can feel everybody else's energy. That's like that personal space that we all claim, and how, like, when I'm walking through an airport, I want to have a little more space than I would at, say, the grocery store.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
That's our
yeah.
auric level, right? That's a demonstration that everybody's got this, and as long as they've tapped into it, they know where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the ancestral level and the spirit level. And that's receiving the information from them. They're sharing with me, like, oh yeah, Aunt Fanny had X, Y, and Z problem, and it's showing up over here in her body too. Right.
I'd love it.
Or spirit will be like, okay, she really needs to understand right now to ground and get centered and feel her feet. And it's working in those three layers that I feel, see, hear, all the things that I need in order to put the puzzle together to help someone understand. Well, you might be having this gut issue, but it's really coming from your aunt who had diverticulitis.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, oh my gosh, like it blows their minds. But at the same time, we get to the root of it really, really quick. And then we can move through it really, really quick if they're ready. If they're not ready to move through it really, really quick, well, then we move at their pace. And it's understanding and learning each other's pace, because I love to move fast. And not all my clients like to move at the same rate I do. So I start to move at their pace as we get to know each other.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, I like to move fast. And I'm like, oh, maybe I need to like integrate some information before I like take off.
Right?
Oh, amazing. Oh my gosh, there's like so many questions. So like, how do you balance between having like the logical analytical brain and the intuitive brain?
Uh, how do I do that? That's a great question. Uh, um, hmm. I really, when it comes to the intuitive stuff, it's a matter of opening the channel and allowing the information to flow through me, and discerning what needs to be spoken in the moment and what doesn't. And that's where the logical piece comes in, right? I've got to go, okay, I hear you, family, or I hear you, spirit, but is that something they can receive right now? And that's where that logical piece really has to drop in, right? When it comes to speaking about like the science behind what's going on in your body, I like to geek out. Like, me personally, I like to geek out over those things. So like, if I know the science behind it, I'll drop that in there. And that's me being in my logical head. But it's this balance and conversation with spirit around how much do I need to be in that channeling, and how much do they need me to be in that logic, so that they can actually anchor and ground what I'm saying and take it in. And I feel like that's where the logic really comes in, is so that they can really go, oh, I get that. Whereas spirit's just like, give them all the information.
I hear you. That like so resonates, because it's like sometimes doing a reading, Reiki, whatever, I'm going to be like, oh, this person's not going to get this way. If I say it this way, like words to me, I'm just like, they're a form of communication, and we only give them meaning if like they know what it means, right? So it's like, all right, cool, like it doesn't hurt my feelings to use one word or another, like it doesn't matter to me, in air quotes.
Right,
So I
matters.
love that. Now I'm a little curious about like your NASA background, just because like not everybody does NASA. Like it's such an amazing thing. Like I have maybe two connections. Like one of my really good friends, his dad worked for aerospace, and then I have another friend who actually still works for aerospace, and that's all I got.
Well, now you have another.
Yes.
So, man, I I forced myself to get a mechanical and aerospace engineering degree in college. And it was because I knew I wanted to work on human space flight.
Mm.
And so when I love this, when I graduated college and I didn't get a job right away, it was about 6 or 7 months after I graduated that I finally got the job. I read The Secret and I started practicing The Secret. I've never shared this before, just so you know, Mama T. Uh, and I manifested a 6-figure job on the Orion program. It was my dream job with my dream pay. And yeah, the chills, right? All over the place. Uh, that was an 8.5 year long stint working on NASA's Artemis program. So that's what it's called now. When I was on it, it was the Constellation program, and then it was just the Orion program. And now it's the Artemis program. But I was on that for 8.5 years. And it was grueling and fascinating and fun and grueling. It was a lot of work and a lot of stress for me. And ultimately, my doctor, my East West integrated medicine doctor, said to me, "You're killing yourself. You might want to consider backing off of the job." And I was like, "Why the job?" And she was like, "Because you're literally frying your brain." And I was like, "Okay, all right, great." So I stepped away and I put myself on a satellite program after that. And that was like a bus size satellite. And then I switched over to micro satellites, which were like shoebox size satellites. And then I exited aerospace altogether and became an entrepreneur full time, dove in. And then I entered aerospace again with a very small company. There were, I think, four of us on the team. Every once in a while, there'd be a fifth person bounce in. And we developed a product that NASA wanted. I was on NASA's iTech doing a presentation in front of all of the technical heads at all of the aerospace centers for NASA. It was unbelievable. It's still on YouTube. And I exited that business, interestingly, and I ran out of aerospace swiftly and took some of the IP, the product with me, since I was a huge contributor to creating that product. So I still have this product called radiation protection that I'm slowly, someday, maybe gonna remake and give to the aerospace world. It's out there, it's a thing, but it's on the back burner. The medical intuitive work has definitely taken over. That's the thing I've put my most energy into right now.
I love it. And I love how we have the ability to be such like multifaceted beings and I would never think like, oh, someone that works at NASA or like aerospace has like, you
Right?
know.
It took me a minute to put two and two together. And then I realized, oh, the reason why I don't like aerospace anymore is because I'm not working with the human portion of aerospace. When I exited and started working on satellites and radiation protection and all of that, I was like, this is kind of boring. And then I had one of my teachers, Melissa Seaman, said, "You realize like the overarching thing in your life is the body, and the body must be part of what you're doing. You were an athlete, you're still an athlete. You worked with astronauts on NASA programs where astronauts will be on board, and then you started working in this medical intuitive space. All those things are the body." And I was like, okay.
I love it. So I heard you say East West like medicine
Mm-hmm.
doctor. Like, where does one find that? Can you expand upon that?
Boulder, Colorado is where you find that. Uh,
Sounds about right.
okay. So, East West Integrated Medicine, Dr. Nita Desai is my doctor. She is Ayurvedic as well as an MD. And there's that interesting mix and combination of the woo and the science. right? Ayurveda is the original sciences. When you get a yoga teacher training certification, you usually learn about Ayurveda.
Hmm.
And it's India's original science. It's the most documented, longest lasting science that we have on the planet. And and then you've got MD. And this is where she can, write prescriptions if necessary.
Hmm.
I was one of those patients who was like, I really don't want to go there with the prescriptions unless absolutely necessary. I don't want to tap into the Western side of medicine. And this plays out when I work with my clients too. My preference is let's do supplementation. Let's change your diet. Let's work on exercise. Let's tweak sleep because sleep is by far the biggest knob to turn when it comes to our body. Those things, let's do that stuff first. And then, if necessary, let's use Western medicine. And then, of course, I've worked with people who are cancer patients and they need Western medicine. That is a must in their life
Hmm.
because that kind of medicine can help. And it's all a matter of what you believe in.
Oh, for sure. Oh, I love it. I love it. Because it's like, part of my journey is learning more about like herbs and herbalism. And like, because I'm pulling away from like, ooh, do I want this prescription or do I want to see if there's like, a better way that actually is easier on my body, that's less chemical. Let me pull away from like processed foods and eat something that's like actually plant-based
Whole.
and whole. Exactly. So this is like so in alignment with the journey that I'm on right now. So I love this conversation. What is your sport of choice?
Okay, so I went to college and played Division 1 and Division 2 softball.
Oh,
That was my love. That was the sport that I loved. My current sport of choice is ice climbing,
whoa, that's badass.
right? Kicking and picking, throwing axes into a wall and then kicking your feet into the wall with spikes on the end of it. Hell yes, that's my game. And then I'm also a power lifter. So those two are kind of neck and neck with each other. I don't get to ice climb nearly as much as I get to power lift.
Fair.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I love it. I haven't really like I played rugby in college. That was my sport of choice back in the day. Fun fact.
Yes.
Now I'm just like, being more easeful, doing more yoga, dance, swimming. I'm so lucky that like living in LA, it's pretty much warm and sunny all the time. And we have a heated pool. So I just discovered like in the past month how heated it actually is. And I've lived in this building for like 5 years.
Oh no.
I know, right? And I'm like, oh, it's 9 a.m. No, everybody else is working. I can just like go for a swim and be by myself and just love it and love on my body in the moment. And it's perfect.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, there's a part of you that misses rugby. Misses the impact. That's really what it is. We'll get to that later.
Ooh, I was like, oh, that's terrifying. Um,
No, it's actually really cool.
it's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah, I actually tore my ACL, meniscus, and MCL during those days. So
Oh
that's
yeah, I've been down that road.
yeah,
Yeah, that's where Western medicine's necessary.
exactly.
Gotta have surgery for that. I did. I blew my ACL, tore my meniscus, stretched my MCL, fractured my tibia,
Oof,
all at the same time when I was in high school, right before early signing for softball. Yeah.
no.
Yeah. And then in college, so I ended up going on and playing, and in college I ended up having a second surgery on that knee. It wasn't an ACL; it was a cleanup of the ACL. He called
Mm.
it the doctor called it a cyclops lesion, which I like to this day. I'm like, I want to draw an eyeball on my knee.
Like get it tattooed.
Right?
That's
Yep.
awesome.
I totally get that world. I totally understand that. Which knee was it?
That's my right knee.
Okay, it was my left.
Ah,
Mhm.
interesting.
That matters. That matters.
It does. It does. Alrighty. Well, since we're in this space, I'm down and ready for a little body scan chit chat. Let's go for it.
All right. All right. Okay. So you gave me permission. That's always first and foremost. That's the absolute must. So the thing that showed up right away for me is diaphragm and stomach.
Mm.
Your diaphragm is like super duper tight. Little extra deep breathing would be the suggestion. Like once a day, just do. I love this. This was a teaching from my daughter's therapist. Horse breath,
Horse breath. Okay. Mm. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Or think of another animal that you want to sound like, but make it audible. And that's really the trick, is to have that audible piece, because it reminds us to do it again and again and again. But doing that bigger expanse of breath, but then yeah, the intestines and the stomach are showing up too, and it's the small intestine and the stomach, and it's all like right underneath the diaphragm. The diaphragm's the key for you.
Mm.
So if we can activate the diaphragm, then it'll massage the stomach and the intestines and allow some more motility through that area. How am I doing?
I love it. I'm yeah, I've been having, I would say like gut health has been something that's on my mind. I feel like I like almost not every single time I eat, but a lot of times when I eat, it doesn't feel comfy. And I've definitely talked about it in previous episodes and like
Oh,
how that's what started my journey with learning about herbs and all of that. And then the diaphragm, it's funny, it's been coming up for me to like people keep like sing more. You should sing
mhm.
more because I theater background. I
That
used to do a
voice, sister.
lot of a lot of musical theater. And I just like, I go to karaoke from time to time and that's about it. So it's just like maybe I gotta figure out how to bring singing into my business, how to bring it into my work. And of course breathe more because it's
Right?
all breath work.
Well, so the singing piece will help activate throat chakra more. You need like, and singing, if we know how to sing properly, activates the diaphragm. And you have a theater background, so obviously, right? Sing in the shower. Every time you get in the shower, pick a tune. Uh,
Love it.
you've got the best acoustics in a shower, or not. Um,
My neighbors are gonna love me. It's great. They already do.
right?
I sing all the time.
Yes. The way you open the show, I was just like, oh, that vibration. I love that. Uh, um, yeah. This, yeah. If we can get the diaphragm to start ebbing and flowing, and, when it comes to chakras, are you familiar with chakras?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So when it comes to chakras, this is the solar plexus, the sunshine chakra, right? Um, one of my favorite things to give my clients right now is it's called 30-30-30.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up in the morning, and within 30 minutes of waking, you drink 30 grams of protein without any sugar in it. And then you go
Okay.
for a 30-minute walk at a level 2 cardio zone. So a vigorous or a conditioning cardio zone. And because the goal is not to get a workout in first thing in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. The goal is to get outside in the sunshine that is the perfect light to help our circadian rhythms.
Okay.
It helps. So when we take in the amber light of early morning sun, our bodies go, oh, it's wake up time. And then it goes to sleep at the right time at night. And our circadian rhythms is all about rest and digest, repair our body throughout the day. So certain things turn on to repair and other things turn off so that the body can actually do that systematically throughout the day. That 30 minutes of walking in the morning is a game changer for most people because they don't get enough sunshine, they don't get enough walking, and they don't have enough protein.
Facts.
Right? I mean, it's threefold. And if you just integrate that little piece, you specifically integrate that piece, or go out and go for a swim for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Move
Oh
your
yeah.
body in the sunshine outside for 30 minutes in the morning. Have that protein before you do it, because then it's going to burn the protein. The concept is it's going to burn the protein before it tries to store fat or burn fat. And for us women, our bodies tend more toward storing fat if
Yay.
we're going to be at that level 2 conditioning zone. For our heart, it's going to go, oh, hold on to that. We need that so that we can burn that later. And instead, we're giving ourselves protein, so it attacks the protein first. a whole lot of air quotes around attacks. But that's a key for you is one, getting that sunshine first thing in the morning, anywhere before 10 a.m. That's the goal.
Okay.
So if you like to sleep in, if you're lucky and don't have children and you like to sleep in, get out there before 10 a.m. so that you're in that amber light of the early morning.
Okay.
And then you're getting in your movement right away in the morning. You've knocked that off the list, and then the rest of the day can go really, really well. And honestly, sunshine is going to help that solar plexus for you also. So that's two solid tidbits for you. What you're learning, so message from spirit, what you're learning about herbalism and gut health. The note is tap into the brain gut axis, learn more about the nervous system and how the brain gut axis plays. And then the herbalism piece is you're doing a lot of experimenting on yourself. That's not necessary.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah. Okay. That's complete. Yep. They're like, no, that's what she needed. If you give her more, she'll be overwhelmed.
I appreciate it. Thank you. That was amazing.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So like follow up in that the protein, do you have a preferred protein? Because there's so many out there.
Oh man. Well, it depends. Are you vegan, vegetarian, or can you digest dairy? Like all three of those questions.
I'm not vegan or vegetarian. I do try to have more plants in my diet, but outside of that, dairy is like hit or miss. So
got it. Okay. All right. For you specifically, I would tend more toward Orgain, which is a pea protein. I've
had them before.
Okay. Orgain is by far the most delicious version of vegetarian, vegan protein. Whey isolate would be the other one I would recommend. Play with both of them because you're not vegetarian, you're not vegan. Play with both of them and do it for 2 weeks for each. So Orgain on that side of the house. It can't have sugar in it if you're going to do the 30-30-30 because the body will go, ooh, I need to inject insulin.
Right.
And we don't want that hormone center to be woke up in order to burn the protein. So no sugar. On the whey side of the house, the whey that I love right now, and I say right now because there's like 15 that I've played with in my lifetime, and the one I like right now is called Ascent. You can get it at natural grocers. Costco has it. I think Sam's had it at one point and then it disappeared from their shelves. That protein you can get with no sugar, and it's not hard to digest, but it takes a little while longer to digest because it's whey. I have a very sensitive gut. Also, it's one of the reasons why the people I work with tend to have a lot of gut issues. There's no coincidence that we met. The stomach, when it comes to protein, pea protein for me, so the Orgain, if I take it for a long duration, I will start to get bloat and gas. And the same thing happens for me with whey, but I actually have longer stretches before that starts to show up. So my stomach goes, all right, lady, you've had this one long enough. Switch it up.
Okay. And so you just back and forth.
I do. I don't have a choice in that matter because my gut really does tell me like, okay, we're going to start throwing you issues, or you're going to have to go and figure out, all right, new probiotic, or some of the supplements that you're taking are throwing things out of balance, or your pitta. So this is an Ayurvedic term. Your pitta is pushing your vata and you've got to get that calmed down, or just switch the protein.
Let's keep it simple. Switch the protein.
Right. I am about keeping it simple. Let's keep it as simple as possible.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, you also gave me permission to do a little tarot reading.
Heck
So, do you
yes.
have a specific question you would like cards pulled on, or just a general message?
So I am about to host a retreat,
Ooh.
and it is a 5-day retreat. And I'm already holding container for the women that are showing up for this retreat. And I am super excited, but there's definitely been moments where like that imposter syndrome pops in.
Hmm.
Can I actually do this? Can I actually support them? Do I actually want to spend my Memorial Day weekend doing this? Yes, yes, and yes. But at the same time, there's like some resistance there. What's the resistance?
What's the resistance? Ooh. Is this your first retreat?
No.
Oh, interesting.
That's why I'm like, what is going on here?
Okay. So we have the Six of Pentacles, we have the Ace of Swords, and we have the Strength card. I love it. So I'm feel like the Six of Pentacles, the word that comes up is reciprocity. So are you feeling like you're getting the value like back in terms of whether it's financially or the energy from the people that are like attending the retreat, even maybe people that you might be partnering with? Are you feeling like fully supported in the energy that you're giving and coming back? So that's the vibe I'm getting with that. And then the Ace of Swords, like new ideas. So like presenting maybe something new to the attendees that you're not sure how it's gonna land, right? Or maybe
Mhm.
not sure about the exact communication of these ideas that are coming in. And ooh, something I've never noticed on this card is like there's like the geometric symbols. So
Mhm.
like it's like the DNA chain. So just something more body related that like maybe they're a little less woo woo. So we're gonna, invitation to go more logical, and it feels weird. But like that you have the strength, right?
Yeah.
You have the strength, you have the perseverance, you have the knowledge, both on the woo woo side and on the scientific side to get through it and figure it out. And it's just a little bit of this unknown of how it's going to be received, but
Mhm.
it's all working out for you, and you get to practice and play with it.
I am. I am. That one of the things that I just recently did was we were doing one call every month to build up into this so that most of the work is done before we even get together,
Yeah.
right? And and just in the last 2 weeks I was like, "No. We need one call every week leading into the retreat. You guys need more support."
Hmm.
And they rolled with it, which I was like, "Thank you. Thank you for rolling with that because if they didn't, then we would all land there and I would be picking up pieces instead of being in a puddle together, you know?"
Right.
And and that becomes chaos when you host retreats. And the goal here is not to land in chaos. The goal is that I become the anchor and everybody lands safely in the space that we're going to be in. The land takes care of everyone. The container was set a long time ago. The container is holding space. And I love that you brought up the geometric stuff because I totally dig that. Fibonacci's sequence is actually the main picture on that card. And yeah, that was a good reminder for me, that spiraling in and then
Mhm.
spiraling out and then spiraling in again. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Oh,
Yeah. And then that first piece, yeah, there's the energetic exchange is not quite even yet. There's an imbalance there. And I
yeah.
don't know how to address that.
It'll come.
It will. It'll come at the next retreat, I have a feeling, and not this one. But great lesson.
Oh yeah, it's always a lesson. We get to grow and thrive and learn and all that good stuff. So that's
Right?
magical.
That is. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah. Do you
And
have
the
an idea of when the next retreat will be?
October.
Ooh, birthday month.
Ooh. Okay. When's your birthday? Are you a Scorpio?
I'm a Libra, October 9th.
Okay. I'm a Libra. I'm a Libra moon. I'm a Scorpio sun. So yeah, I get you.
I love it. I love it. This is so perfect.
um, yeah, October. So we're looking at the beginning of October, debating whether we'll go back to the same place or if we'll do another place here in Colorado or beyond. I kind of want to go to Mexico. There's a couple of epicenters in Mexico I want to play in. Um, but for me, it's always like pick the place and the land starts to take care of everyone. And that's the beauty of this kind of work. As long as you can feel the land, integrate with the land, then all of it just starts to take care of everybody at the same time. And because there's a boatload of aspens on the land that I'm going to for this retreat, I'm like, that's the largest organism on the planet. That's handy. That's going to call the right people in for the next retreat. So if I use the same place, which is Glenwood Springs, which is a hot springs just like everywhere, all over Glenwood Springs, there are hot springs. It's close to Aspen. There's a bunch of hot springs in Aspen as well. It's just
gorgeous.
But there's also some interesting energy around the hot springs, right? Hot springs, the springs themselves are ever renewing. They're constantly in rebirth mode. And it's like, oh, well, I've got to pull that energy into this retreat too.
Yeah.
And in particular, in October, we're headed into death, like in the cycles of life, death. You know, we're in the bridge between life and death in October. If you pay attention to Halloween or All Saints Day or Dia de los Muertos, they all happen right there.
Right there.
Because the veil is thin in October. That liminal space we can play in. And then after that, we go into wintertime and that's death.
Oh, yeah.
And as long as we're practicing that and not resisting, so many people resist death. But as long as we practice that and go into death, into that spiral beautifully, everything is great, grand, and good. But now I'm bringing people into a place where birth is constantly happening. This hot spring, this regeneration. And I'm like, well, how's that going to play into death? So that's why I was like, maybe we go to Mexico. Maybe we go to Mexico for this one because Mexico embodies and harnesses death really well. I mean, if you look at all of the ancient societies of that land, they weren't afraid to tell us, hey, in 2012, the calendar is going to end.
Right?
And most indigenous cultures believe that. They believe 2012 was this death of one world and a rebirth. And we're in that new front end of this new age, this new world.
It wasn't like the actual implosion of Earth, but more like, I feel like it's the frequency change, right? Yes. Consciousness change. There's been a lot. The world does not look the same as it did back before 2012 in so many ways.
So many ways. And we're just in the beginning, right? I mean, we're 12 years old. We're basically hitting puberty right now.
Yeah.
Which is why this last month, April, for most people that I know, April was a complete and total shit show for people.
Oh, yeah.
When you pulled their cards, when you read their astrology, when we had the eclipse, like it was straight up chaos for people. And it's the sign of major transformation, major change. And, April, for me, April is playful and it's springtime and let's get back outside and play again. That's what April is for me. And now here we are in May and it's May 1st for us when we're recording this. And, this is Beltane. Beltane for the Gaelic people. It's the first day of summer. Welcome to summer, people. It's not when we hit the solstice. It's not the summer solstice. That's the peak of summer. And there's confusion around that. It cracks me up. Beltane, it's the first day of summer.
Oh, man.
The northern hemisphere. It's the first day of winter in the southern hemisphere. Ha ha ha.
I love it. I love the wheel of the year coming into this conversation.
Heck yes. I mean, it's something that I live by. And I mean, I'm also a yogi, so I also live by yoga practices, and I've also learned permaculture, so I practice permaculture stuff too. But yeah, the wheel of life, we live, as women, we live in that cycle in 1 month, and then we live in that cycle in 1 year, and then we live in that cycle over a lifetime. So yeah, if we're not noticing those cycles, that Fibonacci spiral, that Fibonacci sequence, what are we doing?
We're not living the way that our bodies are actually telling us to live. That's
Yes, our bodies, the planet, everything, the universe, literally the whole universe is telling us we all go in a circle, people.
but the world wants us to be a square.
Not
Society
mama,
rephrase.
not Mama Earth. Mama Earth would like us to be a circle, please.
Yes, yes, please.
Keep it that way.
I love
Stop
it.
growing square watermelons.
Oh my God. Oh, this is beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience today?
Well, where can they find me?
Yes, there it is.
bodywhisperhealing.com is my website. And because I'm a generous soul and I love to give, your listeners get a free reading from me by going to bodywhisperhealing.com/thank-you-listener. You can sign up for a 10-minute reading. It's very similar to what you got today, and receive an opportunity to understand what your body, your spirit, and your energy is trying to tell you.
That is beautiful. I love it so, so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Thank you, listeners, for your time, your energy. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.